choosing to do my presentation for Art Week on Doryphoros. This is one of my favorite pieces that I've learned about, so let's get started. But before we start, I didn't actually learn about this from any of the museums that was provided because I had already known about this piece before knowing this module, and I really wanted to do a presentation on it. Anyways, let's go. Next, we got some quick facts. So this piece is named Doryphoros, also known as Spear Bearer. It was originally sculpted by Polykleitos. It's from ancient Greece, and there are many copies that have been excavated, and I'll get a little more into that detail specifically a little later on. So the time period is from ancient Greek period, yay. Anyways, this period lasted from around 2500 BCE to 30 BCE. The ancient Greek period had three main ideas / themes: humanism, idealism, and rationalism. Humanism was the idea that man was the measure of all things and the gods were personification of human ideals. Idealism was how the Greeks strived for perfection in themselves and their art. Rationalism is the realization that without knowledge and free exercise of reason, there's no true happiness for humanity. And these are just the main three things that the Greeks believed in with the art, not getting into the different orders and that stuff of the Greek period, because that does not apply to sculpture, which is what Doryphoros is. And then more about the sculpture is Doryphoros was originally a sculpture cast in bronze, and it was originally created by Polykleitos, but the original is not lost. Many Roman copies exist, such as they have been excavated. That's where that connection ties in. The original was created circa 450 BCE, and this sculpture is an example of the contrapposto style, which was developed by Polykleitos himself. It is a mathematical theory which fits in well with the rationalism idea of the Greek period. And this piece shows movement with the pose of the sculpture and is a naturalistic sculpture. The sculptures from this period are drastically different than that of the prehistoric ancient Near East and Egyptian periods that came before because of the features like naturalism and movement and such. So about Polykleitos. He was taught by Egladas of Argos, who happens to be the same teacher that taught Phaedrus and Myron, both some of the most recognized artists of this period. Polykleitos is also grouped with them in terms of recognition because they're all pretty popular up in the Greek period. Many of his artworks, just like Doryphoros, are mathematically based. And he wrote a canon to explain his methods and principles. Basically, the canon is about his mathematically based methods and principles. Other significant pieces include Diadomanos and his Amazon figure for Ephesus. And his theories are still used in the future, which, for example, Michelangelo's David follows his compostro theory. And David is a piece from the Renaissance period, so there's definitely some difference between the times of when the theory was formed and when it's still being used. And here we've got Amazon figure for Ephesus, Diadomanos, and David. Then why did I choose this piece? I chose this piece because of many reasons. First of all, the naturalism. It's so drastically different from the periods before, and it's a nice change. Especially if the Egyptian period, you've got frontalism / fractionalism, where you can just see most of the body, but it doesn't look natural. Well, this period is changing from that. You got naturalism. And the ancient Greek period is my favorite period that I've learned about. So it makes sense that my favorite piece is from that period. And you can see movement in the sculpture. Like, see his arm and leg, that's movement. And it's very different from previous periods, which is, like I said, a reason why I like this sculpture in the period. And I don't know, it just stuck out to me when I first learned about it, and the sculpture has kind of just stuck with me since. Because I like the style, especially the movement. I will say that again. You can see how it moves, and it's just really nice. Anyways, that's all. Thank you for listening to my presentation about Doryphoros. I hope you were able to learn something. I hope you enjoyed. Bye.